beginning, cars didn't even have doors. And then, when the most expensive cars started receiving them, they were, well, just doors. Some vehicles had doors hinged at the front, some at the rear. Some cars couldn't even decide which way was the best to go. The 1950s saw a door revolution. The Isetta applied creative door placement for access to a very tiny package. And then Mercedes engineers unleashed its iconic gull wings on the 300 SL. Though a design marvel, it was for the very practical reason of a way for occupants to clear the high and wide sills necessitated by the car's tubular space frame. American coach builder Dutch Darren's sliding doors might have been the very first car door innovation strictly for fashion, which meant by the mid-1970s, Lamborghini needed no other reason than shock value to debut its trademark scissor doors, which for 4 decades has had Countach drivers performing acrobatics in order to reverse into parking spaces. And don't forget this guy. Thanks to John DeLorean's hijinks and the Back to the Future movies, unconventional doors have remained popular. So why have most people never heard of the Toyota Sera, the world's first production car with dihedral doors, better known as butterfly doors? Okay, technically the 1967 Alpha 33 Stradale had the world's first butterfly doors, but there were only 18 made and were made of unobtainium when new. The Sera started life in 1987 as the AXV2 prototype for the Tokyo Motor Show. Excitement and praise drove Toyota to put it into production with its glass canopy and butterfly doors nearly unchanged. In March 1990, the Sera was released only within the Japanese domestic market. A few escaped, however, to other countries. In the UK, McLaren's chief designer, Gordon Murray, found himself driving by his neighbor's brand new Sera every day to work. Knowing the Sera's unique doors could solve ingress and egress issues stemming from the McLaren F1's central seating position, Murray borrowed his neighbor's Sera and reversed engineered and adapted the Sera's door for the F1, the fastest and most expensive new car of its era. While it might have been built on the shared Starlet and Paseo front-wheel drive platform using the tried-and-true Toyota 5e dual overhead cam 4-banger, the Sera was actually a tour de force of new technologies, including the Super Live Surround Sound option, the world's first automotive surround sound stereo featuring 10 speakers, 3 on the dash, 2 in the front doors, 2 in the back seat, a subwoofer under the hatch, and the affectionately named Sausage on the rear hatch. With a push of the warp button on the stereo's head unit, the Sausage's 2 speakers would rotate from funky modes direct at the occupant's head position up to a position reflecting off the rear glass. The Sera was also the first production car to equip projector headlamps, a design that didn't become ubiquitous until nearly a decade later. And then there were the 2 ventilation options, one being the standalone Clean Ace overhead cabin filtration unit, and the other a rather gimmicky Air Fantasy dash-mounted system that used special dealer-supplied scent packets to blow nice smells through the ducts. But enough history, it's time to see what life is like with the doors closed. Welcome to the inside of the 1992 Toyota Sera. Unlike when you get into a DeLorean and then you shut those doors and then it's just like any other car, the Sera always reminds you that you're in a Sera. And the key to that is this glass canopy. It's always bringing sunlight in. That just makes you feel happy. Even when it's colder outside, you're not shivering like you are in a convertible, and you're not just getting this little tiny slot like a moonroof. Once you get past the doors and the glass canopy, yeah, it's a 1990s Toyota, but that's not a bad thing.
Japanese were really way ahead in terms of ergonomics and just overall, quality in their compact and sporty cars in the 1980s and 1990s. Thanks to cars like the Prelude that used Recaro seats, it really made Toyota up its game. So now the most obvious downside of having so much glass is when it gets hot, when the sun is just right up there in the heat of the summer. Yeah, that's why they call it a greenhouse. But luckily the Sera took some of that into consideration. First of all, there's Japanese quality air conditioning. Second of all, there are these nifty sunshades that clip right in above the head. So that takes it down at least 15 degrees. Sure, if the sun's setting or you catch it the wrong direction, yeah, you'll get really hot sun coming, right in this section here through the window, but that's not a lot to have to deal with for such a cool and unique design. This Sera is a very rare 5-speed car. 90% of all Sera production was actually automatic transmission. It seems that the Japanese love automatics even more than Americans do. So what's the 5-speed like to drive? Well, it feels very typical for a 1990s Japanese car. Throws are a wee bit on the long side, but there's generally no problem finding gears. If you get a little sloppy, you may find that you're going from first into fourth rather than first into second. So you got to make sure you keep a little pressure to keep it out on the left side and down. On the highway, the Sera is actually a really good GT car. Yes, the glass canopy does let in a little more road noise, and this car has been fitted with aftermarket coilovers, and it's riding on Tom's alloy wheels with low-profile tires, so it's a little harsher than the normal Sera, and there's a little more road noise. But aside from that, you get pretty much driving this all day, and with over 35 miles to the gallon combined and well over 40 on the highway, you pretty much can go forever. Another upside to the Sera on the highway or the freeway is that, unlike most Japanese cars, this thing is geared really well. So we're going about 62 miles an hour, and we're just touching 3,000 RPMs. Now, I remember when I was in college, I drove my housemate's 1986 Toyota Supra, and we were churning 3,500 RPMs on the freeway, and it was pretty loud. This thing just kind of loafs around when you need it to. Yeah, I suppose a Grand Touring car should have cruise control, but if you can't be hassled to modulate the accelerator with your foot, maybe you should be in a Lexus. So what does funky mode sound like? It sounds like this. Braking is actually really good in this car. Seras were actually standard with discs up front and drums in the rear. But as a Phase 2 car with the optional ABS system, this car has disc brakes all around, and they're phenomenal. They feel good, they're direct. You know exactly how much stopping power you're gonna get. much better than you'd expect from reading all those reviews of people who've never driven the car online. Especially with this coilover package that happens to be in this specific car, this thing holds the road really well. Steering is almost to the darting point. You really just point and shoot. It's a solid platform. And as for acceleration, well, it is the standard 5E Toyota 1.5 liter dual overhead cam, 4 valve per cylinder, 4-cylinder engine. It produces about 108 horsepower. That doesn't seem like it's a lot. But as I've said many times before, and as indicated in the title of our videos, that it's not about numbers. It's about what you actually feel in the seat of your pants. And you're not going to win any bragging matches. But when you drop it down, this thing gets up and goes. It's just good, clean, wholesome Japanese fun. Doesn't need any excuses.
And when it comes time to open those dihedral doors again, be it at the gas station or a car show, be ready. It might never have been the fastest car on the planet, but this rare, sporty Toyota attracts attention like a true exotic.